I recently heard a story that stuck with me. A business owner doing about 40K a month needed help badly and hired a virtual assistant that was a smart candidate, great interview, and strong English. They sent over the login credentials to them, said figure it out, and went back to running his business expecting all of the problems to be solved. And 2 weeks later, the assistant was gone and the business owner blamed the assistant. But here's what actually happened. There were no SOPs, no onboarding call, no defined outcomes, no check-ins. That assistant showed up to a job with no playbook and no support, and they did what any reasonable person would do, and they left. The hire didn't fail, the business owner's system failed. And in this video, I'm gonna give you the full playbook from writing the job post to running the interviews, onboarding, training, and even managing a virtual assistant so they can eventually run your business without you needing to be there. But here's the thing most people get wrong before they even post a job. They think hiring a virtual assistant is about finding someone decent and plugging them in, but it's not. The single most important factor in whether this works and whether your assistant performs is you need someone who has actually done this before. Someone who has worked inside a fast-moving business, handled real responsibility, and knows how to operate without being micromanaged. That person exists, but they are not easy to find. And here's why. In countries like South Africa and the Philippines, where unemployment is over 30%, being a virtual executive is one of the best jobs available. That means thousands of people are applying to every single role. All of them want the job, but few of them are actually ready for it. And the only way to find the ones who are ready is volume, massive volume. To put things in perspective, most people will only run about 5 to 10 interviews and pick the best of the bunch doing it themselves. And that might feel good, but when you realize that we run 100 one-on-one interviews per role, and on average it takes us 43 interviews to find a winner, 43, not 5, not 10, 43, you realize that you're not doing enough. And that's the problem that most business owners run into. They don't want to do that volume. They interview 5 people and pick the best out of the 5 and wonder why it didn't work out 60 days later. The best of 5 is not even close to the best of 100. So before we talk about SOPs and onboarding and management, I need you to understand this. The foundation of everything is finding the right person with the right experience and attracting that person to your role. And this starts with one thing, which is the job post. Now, there is a very specific way I write job posts that gets me hundreds, sometimes even thousands of applications every single time. And here's what most people do. They'll write something like looking for a virtual assistant to help with operations or admin. That post will get you 5 applications and none of them will be qualified. And here's why. The job post is your first filter. The experienced candidates, the ones who have options, are reading this post and deciding whether this opportunity is worth their time. If it's vague, they move on to the next job post. If it's overwhelming, they move on. You have one shot to speak directly at the person that you actually want. So what do you actually include? Number 1, specific tasks, not help with operations. I mean, manage my inbox, schedule calls, update the CRM, handle client follow-ups, and build weekly reports. If they can read your post and picture their exact day, you're already ahead of 90% of what's out there. And number 2, cut the amount of requirements in half. I see people posting 12 to 15 requirements on a job post, and all that does is attract people who lie to check boxes and repel the strong candidates who don't tick every single box but could absolutely do the job. Keep it to about 3 non-negotiables and leave room for people to actually learn the rest. And number 3, and most importantly, is please include payment terms. I cannot tell you how many times someone asks me why their post got 5 applicants after spending hundreds of dollars promoting it. I look at the post and there's no payment info. Of course nobody applied. The experienced candidates you want are not applying for mystery salary roles. Be upfront, it costs you nothing, and it filters in the serious ones immediately. Get the job post right, and you will have more qualified applicants than you know what to do with. Get it wrong and you're starting from 0. Now, number 2 is the interview process. Now, here's where most people cut corners and pay for it later. Like I said, we run 100 one-on-one interviews per role. Every time I tell someone that, they look at me like I'm insane. But here's the math. It takes us about 43 interviews on average to find a winner for one of our clients. And the reason for that is simple. You simply cannot tell the difference between a qualified and an unqualified applicant on a resume. You can't tell on a cover letter. You can only tell when you sit across from someone and ask them real questions. The experienced candidates reveal themselves in the interview, the way they talk about their past roles, the way they handle pressure questions, the way they think through problems out loud. You don't get that from a form or a resume. You get that from a conversation. So that's why when we get a client, we do the volume, we run the interview so you don't have to. And here's the part that most people skip entirely, is the final group interview. After we've narrowed it down, we bring the top 3 to 5 candidates out of the 100 to a group interview together. They know they're competing. You get to see how they handle pressure, how they communicate, and how they present themselves when the stakes are real. And here's the bonus that makes this even smarter. After you pick your number one candidate, you now have 2, 3, or 4 other strong candidates on file. So if your executive ever turns, you're not starting from scratch. You reach back out to the next best applicants you already know are qualified, and you're back up and running in days, not months. That's not luck, that's a system. Now, real quick, if you want us to build your hiring funnel and write your job post for you and do all the interviews, book a call using the link in the description. We'll do it on the call for free so you can launch your campaign in the same day. Link is below. Now, step 3 is the onboarding. And honestly, this is where most hires die right here. The assistant starts, the business owner sends over some logins, maybe a Loom video, and says, let me know when you have questions, and disappear. 2 weeks later, they're frustrated the assistant isn't performing, but the assistant never had a chance. Now, here's what a real onboarding system looks like. The first minute of them clocking in should be an onboarding call with you. And you want to give them the brief overview. Make sure they know the basics. What does your company sell? What are the expectations? What are the non-negotiables? Give them the full picture before you actually send them to work. Now, once you're confident they know that, you give them one task to start with, just one. Don't overload them with too much at once. Start with the most important task, let them work on it, let them ask you any questions they have, and complete it until you're satisfied. And once they complete that first task, from there, you can start going task by task. I still do this to this day with my most trained executives. And be sure you have standard operating procedures, step-by-step or written instructions for every reoccurring task. Not because your executive can't figure things out, but because you should never have to explain the same thing twice. If it's documented, it's scalable. If it lives in your head, it's a bottleneck. Now, the number one mistake I see in onboarding is not being specific enough with direction. Vague direction is going to produce vague results. If you want your inbox managed a specific way, document it. If you want your CRM updated on a specific cadence, then document it. The more specific your SOPs come, the faster your executives become independent. Now, week 2 is execution with feedback. They're doing the work, you're reviewing it, you're giving real-time feedback and not micromanaging, you're coaching. There's the difference. And by the end of week 2, a properly onboarded executive should be running their core responsibilities without you needing to touch them. But here is where the long-term value is built, and almost nobody talks about this. Most VA agencies will place you someone and disappear. You're on your own, and 6 months later, you're wondering why performance has dropped and why you're back to doing everything yourself and why this company is demanding another onboarding fee. But we do something very different. We meet with every executive one-on-one on an ongoing basis for ongoing training, not just before they start, but after and consistently, because your business changes, new priorities emerge, and your executive needs to evolve with it. That requires ongoing support, not a one-time training call. So check-ins don't need to be long. We personally take about 15 minutes a week, and we find that is enough to keep everything on track, catch problems before they come up, and keep your executive growing into more responsibility over time. Now, the last part is where the real leverage in. A properly supported executive doesn't stay in the same lane forever, they grow. They take on more, they start managing other people, and they start becoming the operator to your business so you can step into the CEO role. And I've seen this happen over and over. Business owners who started with one executive now running teams of 10, 20, or 30 assistants across multiple departments. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because the system was built right from day one and support never stopped. This is exactly what we help with. So let's recap the full expert assistant system. Number 1, write a job post that actually attracts the type of talent you need. Be specific about the tasks, get clear on the experience you're looking for, and always include the payment terms. The right candidate is reading your post right now and deciding if it's worth their time. Make sure it is. And number 2, simply just do the volume. Run enough interviews. It takes us 43 interviews on average to find a winner. Use a group interview for the final one so you always have backup options ready to go. And 3, onboard with context, give them SOPs, and be there for real-time feedback. And 4, stay in it. Ongoing check-ins, ongoing support, and a clear path for the role as your business grows. That's the system. Now, if you want us to build it with you, book a call using the link below. On that call, we'll write out your job post and build your hiring funnel for free, no pitch, no pressure if you don't want it, just the work being done. Now, if you want to go deeper into the interview process specifically and how we identify A players from thousands of applicants and what questions actually separate the top 1% from everyone else, watch this video next and I'll see you there.